So Kanye West put out his contracts for the world to see. He's talking that ownership stuff. He wants to get his masters. Don't know if this is like too deep into it for y'all, but I know Kanye West typically has polarizing opinions and thoughts about this stuff. So I wanted to hear your thoughts about that. I know this is not a music thing, but I think it's pretty important when it comes down to worker versus employee. I'm sorry, worker versus employer. The act of exploitation, and it happens in every single industry. You know, that's what free markets are based off of. Exploitation. How can I pay you 1 and me make 10? So what do you guys think about Kanye West putting out his contracts and saying they own my masters, they own me, and they won't let me buy it back, and I'm a billionaire and I can, but they won't let me?
I don't know all the intricate details. I just saw him peeing on his Grammy, and I hope someone gives him a hug. But I'm a big fan of his music, and I think he's not well. But
so not well.
I don't know. Was he in a position initially to not sign those contracts and own his own? Because he owns some of his.
No, I don't believe so.
He owns a few.
Perhaps. But on average, so I remember he's in a legacy style contract where he has to put out music every 2 years. But we all know that Kanye West, worth probably around $3.3 billion, his first, second, third, fourth, or fifth primary income is not music. But in that contract that he had put out a couple years ago, it said that music must be the primary financial aspect of his professional life. But that's impossible.
Yeah.
You know, the Yeezy shoes alone sell probably $1 billion or $2 billion a year.
Right.
So I wanted to touch on this mainly because everybody is on that ownership talk. Everybody's on that chat about owning everything. But here's the thing that I think. First of all, in Kanye West's specific case, and people who are going into the music industry, I wonder Kanye West signs his first deal many years ago, pre-social media, pre the internet world that we live in today, when getting hot was expensive.
Yeah.
You know, because you're literally moving albums, you're moving physical objects into stores and through distribution agreements. Mm-hmm. Now, today is a different story when they tell you don't sign to a major label, don't sign your rights away, don't sign your masters away. They're saying that because you have all the ability today to be the label. Now, that doesn't mean that you necessarily do, because there's a fiduciary obligation that comes along with getting yourself hot. Just like, so that I guess the fans could understand, let's say for us, you know, we have a deal, right? Mm-hmm. This is how you're listening to the show. We have a deal with a larger entity. But on the marketing end, we do have to spend money to reach people that entity is not reaching out to, right? So today, if you have great music, but you're broke, and it will cost $50,000 to get you somewhere, to get you seen, to get you observed, to get somebody listening to your stuff, not everybody has that. So they're going to see that upfront, what is it called when they give you the money just upfront? Advance. They give you the advance, which is a loan. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a loan, but it's a loan that a lot of people have not seen. You know, I'm sure for somebody who's just a regular who's just kind of pumping up, they might give you a couple $100,000 to finish your album, to just really focus on your music. And then you got to go out and you got to earn it back for the label. But there's all types of stipulations in there that keep you stuck, locked, and imprisoned to the label. So how does ownership happen if you have nothing? Because Kanye is in a very specific position where he's worth billions of dollars. Taylor Swift went through the same.
I was gonna say, didn't she go through the same thing?
She went through the same thing, and she paid $300 million for her masters.
Stuff. Yeah,
that's a lot of money. So, and I'm assuming Kanye West has made more sales than Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
In 15 years or so.
I'm sure she's gonna make that back.
Oh, yeah. She probably already made it back.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but Taylor Swift is very popular, you know.
Yeah.
But Kanye West is kind of like the next level above that. You know, I think his lawyer said if they charged her $300 million, they're probably going to charge him $5 million, if not $6 million. So my thing is, you're a young up and coming musician. You're making music. You're doing this. You're doing that. They come to you with an advance, $1 million. What do? You know that they're going to take it. You know ultimately that you're in a situation where you're going to be exploited. They're going to give you the $1 million. You've earned it back 10 times over. You've toured. You've done this. You've done that. Now, you do raise your net worth over time. Like, it's not the point where you're like, is it SWV or what? It might have been SWV or
Escape.
Maybe it was Escape who came out with 50 grand at the end of it all. You remember that?
I think it was SWV. Yeah.
Might have been SWV or somebody. No. What's the Lisa Lopez? TLC. It was TLC. They came out with like 50 grand at the end of their career. Let's not say that it's to that degree.
Right.
But you know that for every $1 million you make, they're making 100.
Yeah.
Do you sign?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what leverage do I have right now to say nah?
Exactly.
Well, they're going to say that you can get hot on your own. You can own all of your masters. Just like a guy, his name is...
But is that guaranteed? You know?
There's nothing guaranteed. Ultimately, let's say you get $1 million advance. Remember, it's a loan. They tell you you have to pay it back, this, that, and the third. You don't. You now owe the label. Mm-hmm. They own you, pretty much. They tell you what you got to do when the music comes out. And if they shelf you, you've pretty much lost your ability to earn income.
To do anything.
Because they no longer feel like they want to put out an investment to invest in you. So, I mean, I've had this conversation with a few different people before, and I've always said, yeah, I'd rather be screwed at $10 million than screwed at zero.
Exactly. Because, I mean, yes, it does suck for like Taylor Swift and Kanye, but you have the money to pay for it. Whereas, like, I'm screwed at zero, where I'm like, oh, I ain't got $1 million to pay you back if I don't make it.
Right.
But
on the subject of ownership, again, it's 1%. Let's say you make 1%. Mm-hmm. And you'll never be able to make the 99% back, because you remember Taylor Swift, Kanye West, they're in a different
bracket.
Yeah, they're not your average guys. There's the few people that can buy their masters back. I know Sierra's man bought her masters. Jay-Z might have bought his. I know Chris Brown bought his. There's that few stadium fillers that buy theirs back in. So I understand what Kanye is talking about, and I do understand. I think he just re-signed with his label somewhat recently. So I'm a little confused as to what happened, you know. But when it's on that talk of ownership, have you ever met anybody who puts you down for working for somebody else? How do we become owners? Anybody?
Make our own stuff.
Yeah. Michaela Cole, she's a writer and an actress. She started with Chewing Gum. It was on Netflix it's a UK show, but it was on Netflix for a little bit.
Oh, I know who that is.
And then her recent show is called I May Destroy You, and it was going to go to Netflix, but I think they were going to either maintain ownership of it, or she wasn't, in some capacity, she was not going to own her own show that she wrote, direct, starred, and acted in. And so she said no to Netflix. And she eventually landed at HBO, who gave her creative freedom, who gave her creative control. And she was able to tell the story that she wanted to tell on HBO. And she is the executive producer and owner of that show. But she had precedent. She had leverage. She had the popularity of chewing gum.
She had proof of concept.
She could back up her talent.
Jim Gaffigan, same thing.
Well, 50 Cent talks about that in his book. He talks about how when he first started doing Power as the executive producer, this might be big numbers to us, but he was making $15,000 an episode. And if you remember, if you guys know, your agent is going to take what, 20%. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he has a publicist who's probably taking another 10 to 15 taxes. So 50 Cent is making maybe $5,000 or less each episode of Power. But his thing was, I need to show people that I can make a hit show. Mm-hmm. Down the line now, he's got Power Book 2, Power Book this, like he's got a show on ABC. It's exploded. It was an investment worth diving into.
Right.
So in what capacity do you feel like you have to own everything that you do? To go back to that Tyler Perry conversation, Tyler Perry, again, I don't know if he has any partners. I don't know if he has any investors, but he took that little movie flip business that he was doing, the Medea movies, 5 for 20s, and he probably saved maybe $100 million or so, maybe $2. And then I don't know the story, but I'm sure he maybe put a deposit or something on that land, and then that land made an investment that made it a return on that investment that proved him to be a billionaire within 10 years of his career.
It was the TV shows and the deal with TBS.
There you go.
That pushed him over.
There you go.
TBS purchased, I think right off the bat, they purchased 100 episodes of House of Pain.
They did.
And so once he got into that and syndication, I mean, because once you hit 100,
oh yeah,
and they ordered 100 right off the bat,
and the show is back on the air, and I'm talking about like the new show,
a reboot,
whatever.
And so he has that, and now he's on OWN with 6 or 7 shows.
Crazy.
So yeah,
I mean, he made the money, but I know that the land made him that $1 billion. So in the beginning, is it okay to be an employee? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of have to,
right?
Yeah.
Because you have to take that avenue first in order to create
What you want.
in the background what's really going to make you money. Yeah, that passive income.
I mean, the ownership thing I think is important, and I think there needs to be a deeper understanding of the passageway to get from being an employee to the employer. Not everybody is built to be the leader. I'll say that. Not everybody is built. I remember I sat in a bar with this guy, another black dude. We were having this kind of similar conversation about leadership and ownership and all that stuff. And he turned to me and he was like, I work at might have been Coke or Pepsi or something like that. I think Coca-Cola. And he said it with a little bit of like in his chest. I work at Coca-Cola. And because of the conversation that we were having, I was like, well, forget that then. I was just like, I mean, one day you'll own your own thing. He was like, and he turned to me swiftly, and he was just like, what'd you say about Coca-Cola? One of the greatest companies in the world. One of the companies that put my kids to school. And I was like, oh, snap.
He was proud.
The importance of being a good employee. There's some people who are great employees. That's what they do. They can make you the millions of dollars. It may not be your idea, your work, or this or that, but building your team.
Yeah. Not everyone wants to be a CEO.
That's a fact.
You know.
Do you want to?
No.
No intention.
No. I'm not a.
You seem surprised.
Yeah, I think I was surprised. Yeah, I mean, you're already a business owner.
That's true. But I guess I was thinking more so like on a grander scale where it would have like a massive amount of I don't know, employees under me. Like I can own my own business and it just be me.
Yeah. You just want to be self-employed.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a CEO?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What kind of business?
Production company,
What kind of production company?
film and television.
Okay. So you want to make your own, you want to make content and you want to distribute it through theater, television, DSPs.
More so, I mean, I'd love to, distribute my own content, but I'm more so really excited to help other people do that. I want to get to a point where I can produce, other people, so that I'm like a me now at 32. I can look at them and be like, what do you want to make? And let's make it.
Okay. But you said you do want to be in the distribution game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like a studio head. Not necessarily like distribution.
Right. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it because they're two different entities. You know what I mean?
I'm more interested in production, not necessarily distribution.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
You don't see yourself doing that, Carmella?
I don't think so. Like I would love to like what Rashawn was saying, like if he was the head and I was like second tier. Sounds great.
That's a lot of pressure that comes with second tier though. A lot.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm on the beach.
Okay, bitch. I want to be on the beach too.
No, you at the office.
You are at the office and you are pulling 15-hour days.
Right. No. Yeah.
Making sure that Chris is doing his job.
Like I want to be
Hold
able
on,
to
pay
pull
attention,
some
what?
strings, but I don't want it to be, I guess, just like all me. I don't know.
Leadership. Chris, do you want to
Right.
own a business?
I'm on my way to owning a business.
Paletas.
Con
I
ganas.
mean, no, con ganas.
No.
But I have a shirt with a paleta on it.
There you go. I knew I wasn't crazy.
I'm making merch. for
Where do you
my-
see yourself?
Where?
Yeah. What happens in your future?
I've become enough revenue from freelancing and doing client work to get in my own production studio. My own little spot, maybe my little piece of land.
Why you keep saying little?
I don't. It's just
You don't want a Tyler Perry studio
a reflex.
piece of land?
yeah, I'll take it, but I like if it doesn't get to that, I'm cool if I got like, a Jim Henson studio or something like that.
Jim Henson,
Muppets.
Disney.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
owned by Disney. Okay.
But if I get like a Kevin Smith career, I'm not gonna complain. Just want to make movies.
Want to make movies. Word. I've always wanted to be in the distribution game. That's where the money is.
It's a hard game.
Why?
It takes a lot of money.
No, it doesn't.
You don't think so?
No.
I think because of where we are now in the industry, because distribution is going to drastically change in the next 2 or 3 years.
Tell me more.
It's already changing. When you say distribution,
Yeah.
do you mean theaters? Do you mean
Okay.
do you mean
Well, you want to be like a Netflix.
No. I want to be the broker between the production company and the distributors.
Oh,
just like a lawyer. So
Oh.
yeah. So I wanna look at you and say, hey, Rashawn, out of your production company, you've made you made 10 movies. I wanna license or purchase 7 of them, and then I want to go around and go from platform to platform and get a deal for those and return to you with where that they want to go, and then do.
So you kind of want to be an agent,
Sure, but
not for a single individual. You just want to be in like
a distribution firm. Yeah, like pretty much like how we did with the last movie. We went to a distribution company, and then they pull their ties and strings, and they get your deals with the right streaming platforms.
Gotcha.
Or the right platforms in general, which could be anything from airlines to Netflix, physical locations like Walmart to, Amazon, whatever. So that's always been something that I've been interested in, because the movie, the money is always in distribution, publishing.
Yeah.
How your project moves, and is how it makes money.
I thought you were saying you wanted to be a distributor.
Now, I have a large list of things that I want to do. Sure, my main goal in life has always to been to own my own network. But I had that goal before these streaming platforms were a thing. But now that Netflix exists, now that Amazon Prime, Hulu, this, that, and the third exists, it's just like there's a new streaming platform every week.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that really a goal of mine? Is that something that I see as something? Now, I'll tell you what I really like. I want to get into distribution. I already am in the production company game, but as much as we've made our own films, I'm really interested in being in the creative business growing space, where to give you an example, I believe it was Dropbox who purchased a $50,000 explainer video from a creative video agency, and it made them like $16 million. Something like that. I want to be that cog in the system that allows your company to grow. So that's one of my goals. Another one of my goals is I started off writing books. Before I wrote plays, I wrote books. And I always thought that my books, my plays, my short films, TV shows, anything that I always wrote, they were all within the same like 1 or 2 universes. So I would personally I drew this out in the 9th grade, and I don't really talk about it much, so I'm only going to give you small details. But there's something I created called Kelby's Miles of Isles. And it's different islands that have different themes, and you have to take a boat to each one of them. And on some of them, you can watch live theater, comedy, eat. The next one, roller coasters, all themed after the things that I've written. Because it's one of my goals to create 2 movies of every major genre. So that would be, I'm saying too much.
Giving it all away.
Nah, listen. Comedy, drama, mockumentary, horror. I want to make 2 of each, right? And then after that, I want to own a finance company. I know it seems like it's a little bit out there, but the finance company ties a lot of it in, because if I can create all of these things on other people's money, I am the ultimate winner. And what that means is being like accumulating wealth for already wealthy people. So that way I could come out and say, all right, at the end of the year, you owe me 2 to 4% of the profits that we gain for you. And if I'm already and only working with people of high net worth, that means that my 2% means 6, 7 plus figures reinvested back into the real goal. So I could create, I can distribute, I can go back and create in a physical space, and then I could generate.